Every life, no matter how blessed or privileged it may appear, is filled with challenges. Problems come uninvited, knocking on the door of our peace, demanding attention, demanding effort, demanding growth. Yet, the way you choose to handle your problems determines whether they become stepping stones or stumbling blocks. A problem is not an enemy, it is raw material. Just as steel is forged in fire and diamonds are created under pressure, so too is your character shaped in the furnace of difficulty. When you understand this, you stop running from your problems. You stop announcing them to the world in search of sympathy, and instead you welcome them as secret teachers sent to prepare you for something greater. The mistake many people make is that they rush to broadcast their troubles to others. They speak of every setback, every frustration, every wound. In doing so, they weaken themselves. Why? Because each time you share your problem in search of pity, you surrender a portion of your inner strength. The energy you could have invested in solving the problem leaks away in the form of complaints. Complaints never built a monument. Complaints never solved an equation. And complaints never produced greatness. Think of the athlete in training. The weight he lifts is his problem. The resistance he feels is his adversity. If he complains about the heaviness of the barbell, does it make him stronger? No. His strength comes not from speaking about the weight, from lifting it in silence, over and over until his muscles adapt. The same law applies to your spiritual and mental growth. Your problems are weights designed to build you, and they will only serve their purpose if you carry them with determination rather than chatter. Now, let me reveal a secret: life never wastes a problem. Every difficulty is tailored to your growth. If you are facing financial struggle, it is life's way of teaching you resourcefulness, discipline, and vision. If you are enduring heartbreak, it is life's method of teaching you resilience, emotional intelligence, and self-worth. If you are tested by failure, it is life shaping your humility and persistence. The problem before you is not an accident, it is an assignment. The truly successful men and women of history understood this principle. They refused to let their problems define them. Instead, they treated them as workshops of the soul. They did not stand on platforms to complain of their hardships. They stood on stages to display the fruits of endurance. Their silence during trials became their strength, and their victories became their voice. Your problems are not roadblocks. They are raw materials. But like raw stone in the hands of a sculptor, they must be shaped, chiseled, and polished. The sculptor does not complain about the hardness of the stone. He strikes it again and again, knowing each blow brings forth the masterpiece within. Likewise, when life hands you a problem, strike it with courage, patience, and faith until it reveals the strength it came to awaken in you. And here is the final truth. When you stop telling the world about your problems, you leave the stage clear for your results to speak. Results have a voice far louder than excuses. A silent worker, one who wrestles with adversity in the shadows, will one day emerge into the light-carrying achievements that astonish the world. At that moment, people will not ask you how difficult your problems were. They will admire the greatness you forged through them. So, the next time you are tempted to speak of your struggles, remember this: silence is not denial. Silence is refinement. Problems are not curses. They are blessings dressed in difficult clothing. Carry them with dignity, and they will carry you to greatness. In every corner of life, there is a truth that cannot be ignored. The world pays attention to results, not excuses. People are moved by what you produce, not by what you intended to do. They applaud victories, not explanations. They respect discipline, not complaints. Think about it when you look at a successful person. Do you ask them about the excuses they once made? No. You ask them how they achieved their success. You want to know the methods, the habits, the strategies that carried them to victory. The story of excuses dies with time, but the story of results lives on as inspiration for generations. Excuses are easy to make. They cost nothing in the moment, but rob you of everything in the long run. An excuse is nothing more than a reason dressed in weakness. It may comfort you for a while, but it produces no progress, no growth, no reward. Every time you give your energy to justifying your lack of action, you steal that same energy from the very action that could have changed your life. Ask yourself this: when was the last time an excuse paid a bill? When was the last time an excuse built a business? When was the last time an excuse mended a broken relationship? Never. Excuses are empty currency in the marketplace of achievement. Results alone are accepted as payment for the life you desire. The truth is, the world is indifferent to your problems. It does not pause because you are tired. It does not adjust itself because you are discouraged. It moves forward, and only those who move with it reap the rewards. This may sound harsh, but it is a liberating truth. If you want respect, if you want influence, if you want power, you must create results. Let me give you an example. Imagine two men starting at the same point. One spends his time explaining why the road is hard, why circumstances are unfair, why resources are scarce. The other man spends his time moving forward, one small step at a time, despite the same challenges. Months later, one is still standing in the same place, rich in excuses but poor in results. The other has reached his goal. Which one will the world admire? Which one will inspire others? Always the man of results. This is the law of life. Results command respect. Excuses invite pity, and pity never built greatness. Now you may say, but my struggles are real. Of course they are. Every human being faces obstacles, financial, emotional, physical, or spiritual. But what separates achievers from complainers is not the absence of struggle, but the refusal to glorify it. Achievers take that same struggle and transform it into the very fuel for their success. When you are tempted to share excuses, pause and ask yourself, will these words bring me closer to my goal, or will they push me further away? If the answer is further away, bite your tongue and redirect that energy toward action. The secret is simply replace excuses with execution. Replace complaints with creativity. Replace fear with faith. Do this consistently, and your life will change in ways that excuses could never imagine. And one day, when you stand victorious, whether it is in business, health, relationships, or personal growth, you will not need to explain yourself. Your results will speak with a voice louder than any excuse you could have ever made. People will not ask you, what excuses did you use to get here? They will ask you, how did you achieve so much? And your story will inspire, because it will be a story written not in excuses, but in results. So remember this truth: the world does not respect excuses, no matter how clever they sound. The world respects results. Let your actions become the loudest statement of your life. There is a hidden strength that few ever master, a discipline so subtle yet so powerful that it can determine whether a man or woman rises to greatness or fades into mediocrity. That strength is silence. You see, silence is not emptiness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is a shield, a fortress of the mind, a reservoir of untapped power. When you keep your struggles, your strategies, and your inner battles to yourself, you conserve energy. You protect your dreams from being poisoned by doubt, criticism, or gossip. You guard your vision until it is ready to shine in its full glory. But too often, people scatter their energy by speaking prematurely. They announce their problems to the world, thinking it will ease the burden. They reveal their goals before they have laid the foundation, thinking it will make them accountable. But what they do not realize is this: every time you reveal your struggle, every time you speak of your weaknesses, you leak power. You invite unnecessary opinions, doubts, and distractions that can weaken your resolve. Think of a seed planted in the soil. In its earliest stage, it is fragile, hidden, and dependent on the quiet darkness to take root. If you dig it up too soon to show others, it will never grow. Your dreams, your battles, your problems are like that seed. They require silence, protection, and time to grow strong before they can face the light of day. Great individuals throughout history practiced the art of silence. They were not busy telling the world what they intended to do. They were busy doing it. Their silence was not a sign of fear. It was a sign of focus. While others wasted breath on complaints, they conserved theirs for action. And when they finally spoke, their words carried weight because they were backed by results. Silence guards your power because it allows you to listen. When you are silent, you hear more your own thoughts, your intuition, and the subtle lessons life is trying to teach you. The man who never stops talking about his problems cannot hear the solutions that are quietly passing by. The woman who constantly complains cannot hear the whispers of opportunity. But the one who practices silence becomes sensitive to wisdom, alert to guidance, and aware of the path forward. Now, let me give you a simple truth. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. The moment you share your problems widely, you open the door for others to judge you, to misunderstand you, or even to use your vulnerability against you. But when you remain silent, you decide who enters your circle, who earns your trust, and who deserves to hear your story. Silence gives you control over your own narrative. This is not to say that you must suffer in isolation. There are times when you will seek counsel from a mentor or comfort from a true friend. But choose wisely, share sparingly, confide only in those who can help you rise, never in those who will drag you down. So, the next time life places a burden on your shoulders, resist the temptation to announce it to the world. Hold it close. Carry it with dignity. Allow silence to become your ally. For in silence, your strength matures. In silence, your resolve hardens. In silence, your power grows until it is unshakable. And then, when the time is right, you will emerge from that silence with results so undeniable that the world will have no choice but to listen. Not because you spoke of your struggles, but because you showed them your triumph. Remember, this silence is not emptiness. Silence is energy stored. Silence is power guarded. Use it wisely, and you will never be powerless. One of the greatest mistakes a person can make is assuming that everyone around them cares about their struggles. The truth is, not all ears are worthy of your story, and not all hearts can handle your pain. Some people will hear your struggles not with compassion, but with curiosity. Others will not seek to help, but to use your weakness as a weapon. For this reason, wisdom demands that you guard your struggles carefully. Understand this: your struggles are sacred. They are the classroom where your soul is being trained, the battlefield where your character is being forged. To share them with careless people is to expose your most vulnerable self to judgment, ridicule, or betrayal. You must learn to protect your hardships as you would protect your most valuable treasure. Because in truth, that is what they are. They are the raw material of your future greatness. Think for a moment, how many times have you opened your heart to the wrong person and walked away feeling emptier than before? How often have you shared your challenges only to hear them repeated as gossip on other tongues? This happens not because your struggles are unworthy, but because you entrusted them to people who were unworthy of them. Not everyone can handle the weight of your truth. Not everyone has earned the right to hear your battles. There is a dangerous habit many fall into, seeking validation by exposing their pain to the world. They believe that by telling everyone about their hardships, they will gain sympathy, comfort, or understanding. Yet in reality, the world rarely provides what they are seeking. Sympathy may come for a moment, but it fades quickly. Gossip lingers longer, and those who take secret pleasure in your pain will walk away feeling stronger while you feel weaker. You must learn discernment. There are people who deserve access to your struggles, mentors who can guide you, true friends who uplift you, or loved ones who stand with you in loyalty. But these people are rare. They are not found in crowds. They are found in the quiet circle of trust you build over time. Share your struggles only with those who can help you rise, never with those who secretly hope to see you fall. Think of a warrior in battle. He does not shout his weaknesses across the field for the enemy to hear. He does not declare his pain to those who would strike him down. No, he keeps his wounds covered until he is among his allies, among those who can protect and heal him. In the same way, you must guard your struggles, speaking of them only where they can be transformed into wisdom and strength. This principle is not about arrogance. It is about protection. Your destiny is too valuable to be left exposed to careless voices. If you want to grow, you must be selective. You must know who feeds your spirit and who drains it. You must distinguish between those who clap for you when you rise and those who secretly celebrate when you stumble. So the next time you feel the urge to share your struggles, pause. Ask yourself, does this person have the capacity to guide me, to support me, or to strengthen me? Or will my words become fuel for gossip, judgment, or manipulation? If the answer is the latter, then silence is your wisest choice. Not everyone deserves access to your struggles. Protect them, guard them. Share them only with those who can turn your burdens into blessings. For when you learn to keep your struggles away from unworthy hands, you preserve the dignity of your journey and the purity of your growth. And one day, when you stand in triumph, you will not regret the silence. You will be grateful that you guarded your struggles, because they will have blossomed into strength, and your results will speak louder than your wounds ever could. Every human being, at some point in life, will encounter pain. It may come in the form of failure, betrayal, loss, rejection, or disappointment. Pain does not ask permission before entering your life. It arrives suddenly, often uninvited, and it leaves a mark that can last a lifetime. But here lies the critical choice. You can allow pain to crush you, or you can transform it into fuel that drives you toward your destiny. Pain, when misunderstood, becomes poison. It breeds bitterness, anger, and self-pity. It convinces people that life is unfair and that they are victims with no control. Many waste their entire lives repeating their painful stories to anyone who will listen, building identities around their wounds instead of their victories. But pain, when understood, becomes power. It refines you. It sharpens your vision. It awakens the fire inside you to rise above what tried to destroy you. Think of fire. Left uncontrolled, fire burns and consumes everything in its path. But when harnessed, fire gives warmth, light, and energy. Pain works in the same way. If you let it run wild in your mind, it will destroy you. But if you learn to channel it, your pain becomes the very force that empowers you to climb higher than you ever imagined. Some of the greatest achievements in history were born out of deep pain. The innovator who failed countless times before creating something that changed the world, the leader who faced rejection, exile, or imprisonment before inspiring nations, the artist who turned heartbreak into timeless beauty. None of them allowed pain to become their grave. They used it as their training ground. They transformed wounds into wisdom and setbacks into stepping stones. The truth is, pain is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a new chapter. Every time life wounds you, it gives you a choice to remain broken or to rise stronger. The broken path leads to despair. The stronger path leads to destiny. And destiny is never reached without a period of fire. When you face pain, ask yourself, what is this pain trying to teach me? Perhaps your financial struggle is teaching you discipline and resourcefulness. Perhaps betrayal is teaching you discernment and strength of character. Perhaps failure is teaching you resilience, persistence, and the courage to try again. Pain always has a message, but you must stop complaining long enough to hear it. Transforming pain into fuel requires a shift in mindset. Stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? Stop repeating the story of your suffering and start writing the story of your comeback. Stop seeking pity and start seeking power. For pity may comfort you for a night, but power will carry you through a lifetime. There will come a day when you look back at your pain with gratitude, not resentment. You will see that the very things you thought were sent to destroy you were, in fact, preparing you for the heights you were destined to reach. The rejection that broke your heart may have saved you from the wrong path. The failure that humiliated you may have redirected you toward the right purpose. The loss that crushed you may have opened space for something far greater. So, my friend, do not waste your pain. Do not bury it beneath bitterness or scatter it in complaints. Harness it, shape it, use it. Let your pain become the fire in your veins, the steel in your backbone, the vision in your eyes. Because one day, when you stand victorious, the world will not remember how deeply you suffered. They will remember how powerfully you rose. And your story will not be one of tragedy. It will be one of triumph. Remember this eternal truth: pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Transform your pain into fuel, and it will carry you to your destiny. My friends, let us bring this journey to its rightful end. We have seen that problems are not curses, but the raw material of strength. They are given to you to forge your character. We have discovered that the world does not bow to excuses, but rises in respect for results. And only your actions will ever prove your worth. We have learned that silence is not weakness, but a shield, a sacred guard that preserves your energy and keeps your power intact. We have understood that not everyone deserves access to your struggles, that your battles are sacred and must only be shared with the few who can help you grow. And finally, we have embraced the truth that pain is not the end, but the fuel for your destiny, a fire that can lift you higher if you dare to harness it. So the next time life presses you down with difficulty, resist the urge to tell the world how heavy your burden feels. Do not cheapen your struggle by turning it into small talk. Instead, carry it with dignity. Work on it in silence. Transform it into strength. And one day, when your results shine so brightly that no one can ignore them, you will not need to explain your problems. Your triumph will explain everything. Remember this, the world does not ask about the storms you survived. It admires the lighthouse you became. Stand tall. Guard your silence. Turn your pain into power. And let your life, not your complaints, be the greatest speech you ever give.